Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The Long War begins.
This is The Long War, and I'm Kenny Boucher. And tonight, all the normal cast of characters are present. But there is a caveat. We experienced technical difficulties all night. There was a tornado warning all up and down the North Carolina area, and we had some connection discrepancies. I'm presenting you with audio from the webcast that is typically done live and only exclusive to the Hall of Veterans. And we're splicing in toward the end what I could salvage out of the podcast. We, of course, will try to record another podcast for you guys next week, but hopefully this will suffice, and we apologize.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B. We're a little bit late tonight, but we've all successfully survived the North Carolina Sharknado attack. Joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Four, and Mike Haspel. What's up, guys?
Yeah, true story. Sharknado is happening outside in North Carolina, and it has affected the interwebs. We got Sharknado and Piranha-nado.
And the sequel, Piranha-nado.
Shark, what is it, Sharktopus or Haspel? Mm-hmm. Is that the iconic one?
Well, one of them's Sharktopus, but the other one was like Mega Shark.
Mega Shark. That's the one where
Shark, yeah. That's my
out of
favorite
the
one.
water and eat an airplane that cruising up.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's my favorite one.
One of them was in outer space, even. Like, so good.
It was epic. So hopefully we didn't lose anybody. We know we were 5 minutes behind. I've seen people in there like, yo, where are these guys at?
But perception of reality. Oh, I have good news to report. There was also a box of dice, of custom Long War dice, was waiting for me at my door. Also survived the Sharknado attack.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God for that. It was extremely heavy. I did not pick it up. I just kicked it inside the door. It was my mad dash to get in here and get set up. So we got that. I think we got a really exciting show tonight because I think we're going to see Juice literally lose his shit over the new Tyranid rules.
Wait, what?
So that'll be fun. And, well, there's a lot of stuff going on. We got new Orc rules, new Tyranid rules, new Marines, new everything, really, I feel like.
Okay. I'm Robbie B. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm back. I literally just had to tap into the Matrix. I feel like Tank or Dozer, whatever the guy's name was from the Matrix. Literally, him and I was the same person for a second. My computer wanted to shut down for the third time back to back. I fought it. I told Mr. Smith he can go F himself, and I am back. Yes, I am fully prepared to lose my shit all about all this new Gene Stealer cult shit that's happening right now.
Was that a Star Trek tricorder go off in the background?
Yeah, that was a Star Trek communicator.
Communicator, yeah.
Yo, that's me trying to communicate to Haspel and Kenny and fix my shit right now. My shit is breaking. I have no more power for the warp generators.
Yo, your Windows is trying to update.
Yeah, he's still on that 8.0. He wants to upgrade to 8.1, which honestly, me and Haspel, we liked 8.1 Windows.
Yeah, we were like one of 5 people on.
One of the 5 people on Earth who liked it. It's like Briscoe County Jr., that TV show. Me and Haspel probably the only 2 people watched it. Am I correct in that?
That is correct, yeah.
That was before my time.
Yeah, it had the guy who played Shonuff on The Last Dragon, one of the greatest martial arts movie ever made.
Shonuff? Who?
Shogun of Harlem.
Yep. Isn't that a movie you love that quote from, that Kung Fu Treachery?
Yes, it was. It was. Now you guys know what we do. Now you guys know what we do with an hour or two before we start the podcast, after the webcast, is figure out the best and greatest top 50 Kung Fu movies of all times.
Yep. We also figure out our favorite wrestling tag teams that throughout history is one of the things that we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I guess let's do a roll call real quick with Juice.
Absolutely. So we've got Evan chilling in the house, and he's got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to come back to it, especially considering it's some Necromunda stuff. We got Ryan Hammer checking in. It looks like managed to finally catch one of these lives. Massive fan of the Long War since the start. Now a veteran, literally loving that aspect. So he's super excited to be able to be a part of the roll call tonight. Jack Vandy is checking in. Void Wraith Prime. Mr. Branton, Mr. Yates himself from across the way is checking in. Clay Cruz, I want you to know I was going back trying to find through my voicemails just a little bit ago. Like that's how I keep records because I'm such a good businessman. Like I actually don't take notes. I just save voicemails. And so I literally just listened to like 3 voicemails of you calling me throughout the last like 6 months talking about tournaments. I thought that was kind of cool.
So yeah, so we'll answer all your questions in those voicemails, regardless of how relevant they may seem.
So we've got famous Amos checking in. Mr. CEO himself, Sean Brown, is in the building, everybody. Let's see, Melissa Brown. We have a full cast tonight. Melissa Brown is checking in. Lady Slanesh. Mr. Perez checking in. What's happening, brother? We've got painting services checking in. Iron-Headed DOF. Fallen Cypher, the original Marshall.
OG Marshall, yep.
OG checking in. Oh, can't forget Black Tower Terrain, Stoner Steve, and Lamont. Man,
blood for the blood god.
Yo, everybody is here tonight. Love it.
Man, that is a full cast. That makes me super excited.
That's where we're at.
Speaking of being excited, like a lot of shit's been going down at the Durham Beats Lab. First off, obviously we survived the tornado today.
Sharknado,
because that's what happens when you're on the East Coast. When tornadoes hit, they hit the ocean first. It's science, first off. And it picks up these schools of these sand sharks. I think they're called tiger sand sharks. And they're deadly. And then it deposits them all over the streets of Durham. And flood conditions.
They actually have laser beams strapped to their foreheads.
Oh, yeah. So made it through that, but tomorrow, so it's getting real though. Like tomorrow, my pod is getting dropped off here.
Your drop pod.
My drop pod.
with or without armor.
Well,
for you.
I'm not gonna be in it because I cannot survive that.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to fill this pod up with all my shit because it's gonna be going to California.
So basically,
we're
all I heard from you was you are going to drop in this pod in California without armor, fully prepared that you know you can't survive.
I'm just going to obliterate, just mush. And
hopefully you'll come back as a spawn.
We're going to have to call on Nurgle to bring us back as Nurglings.
Yep.
But so it's getting real. So I'm about a week away from hitting the road. Packing up. I mean, like right now my lady's holding it down, packing up all the stuff out there. I'm working to the last second, banging out commissions, editing battle reports, editing painting tutorials. I'll be doing that until the last second. I'll make sure we bank some, hit the road, try to get to a hotel, do a podcast, because it's a 36-hour drive, so let's face it, I ain't driving that straight. Going straight all the way to LA, literally coast to coast. And we have been seeing a lot of places online, people were worried. They were hitting up Rob, and they were asking, like, well, what are you guys going to do without Kenny? And I just wanted to address that. There's this thing that I would say it's more than half of the Long War. It's called the interwebs, and we use this tool.
Is that a specific type of cylinders and tubes?
It's an interconnected series of tubes.
It's a vacuum system, and basically. I don't want to bore you guys with the science behind it, but essentially it's what allows me to do my contribution, my job here at the Long War Maelstrom Studios, and it lets me edit battle reports and tutorials without ever being in the same room as Juice and Rob. As a matter of fact, I haven't been in the same room as Juice and Rob since Season 2 started on the Long War, where we kicked it off with the new Beats Lab, with the new backdrop, the new lighting, the new camera, and then eventually we evolved it to a new camera. So since we had the Durham Battle Bunker, when we moved out of there, like I hadn't been in the room with these guys.
So you're telling me you've been able to communicate with us through Tom Cruise witchcraft?
Yep, I used the couch. I jumped on the couch.
Yes.
So, in short, nothing's gonna change. Literally, maybe we hadn't made it clear to people. We all live in the same state now, but we all literally live over an hour away from each other. We don't see each other as often as you guys think we do.
Sometimes you might as well be in California. Depending on
seriously,
how,
sometimes I might as well be in California.
I was gonna replace you with a cat.
Yeah, obviously you already have. But I was going to say, like, honestly, I saw Rob more when I lived in Colorado. Like we didn't have a company we were running together, and it kind of seems like when you're like right down the street from each other, like an hour and a half, you're like, oh, I could see him anytime. You never see him, you know. So it's gonna get real. I'm still gonna be at Adepticon. I'm gonna turn right around, book a LAX out to Adepticon, see everyone at Adepticon. So nothing's gonna change, but I have been excited. So I'm putting it out there though. I need someone to help me carry some shit out of my apartment.
With or without a drop pod, you don't have to have that via transportation to get to Kenny's new Beats laboratory. A car will suffice.
If you're in California, if you're close to LA, I could use a hand. If you're close to Durham, I could use a hand.
Yep.
So, I pay nothing.
Yeah. Also, hoverboards are accepted to be able to get to the Durham, but California has banned them. So don't try to come up to the crib.
You know, I'm not even allowed to have brass knuckles in California.
Yep. Kenny is actually, first off, he's too big to be in California. His arms, his bicep, the girth is too mighty, but he's just taking the chance. Sometimes you just got to, whip it out.
Dude, I was super sad. I was like, because I got this whole thing in the zombie apocalypse where I'm going to just punch my way out with brass knuckles. And Bonet's been calling me out on it. It's like, word, well, what are we going to do in LA? It's like, I'm going to punch my way out. Went online, can't have them. Can't have them. I can have a knife. I can have literally a dirk. I can have all sorts of things, but I can't have brass knuckles. So
yeah, that's crazy. I would ultimately much rather have a dirk than some brass knuckles. But I know that's not in your game plan.
I'm saying so basically what's going to happen is I'm going down round 1 to the zombies.
Because your commitment is that deep. You are fully prepared to do your same plan, just no brass knuckles.
No brass knuckles. So I just want to let you guys know I'm coming for you. Like, I'm going to be a zombie within the first 30 minutes.
I'm glad you're going to California then.
Yeah, so it's going to take me a while, but by the time I get here, I'll be skeletal. I might be missing some legs, but I'll be here. Coming for you, Rob.
We've got quite a few new guys checking in. We've got Chris McMiles checking in, Spencer checking in. John is letting everybody know he is here and that he is super excited about this new Death Watch that I know we're going to be talking about on the webcast tonight and on the podcast. So we've got Dan Raymond. Good gracious. We've got Mitch checking in from across the pond. Hey, Mitch, what part of across the pond are you? Let us know. Nathan is saying we have the best, hands down, bar none. Everybody else sucks. Ad-libbing a little bit. 40k content in the interwebs. Thank you.
Wow, that's quite the compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and he does know about the interwebs.
Yep. We've got Lou. We've actually got, I apologize, I lost the person who said it. I will shout you out here in just a second, but the gist of their question was, Kenny, we need to know, are you going to be attending any of the North Cal 40K tournament scene in the future?
Oh, the NoCal? Yeah, absolutely. That's some of the places I'm looking at, I don't have an apartment yet. That's how real it is, just so you guys know. I'm driving out there.
Probably get one of those.
So I got to figure shit out. It's getting real. It's getting Road Warrior up here. But I'm looking at all sorts of meetups, hobby groups, everything like that. I'm definitely gonna embrace it. I think also Lamont hit it up. He's like, yo, so Kenny, going out to the coast, ITC is prevalent up there. You're gonna embrace the system, drive a stake there. Try to bring the comp scores back. What are you gonna do? Honestly, I think what the game plan is to put myself in that world and see what all the fuss is about, so that way I can, so we can have more intel on it. So rather than just talk about our system is the best system, sometimes you got to make a more informed decision than that, and I'm 100% willing to make that decision. And you can look forward to some inside the mind of tournament gamers from the West Coast in the ITC format, in a West Coast environment. So I'm going to embrace it for as long as I can before I decide what needs to happen and what kind of stakes I need to drive into it,
Yo, well, I'm not, I've been talking to you about this tournament, figuring out what I want to play for. I'm doing hopefully if there's no more Sharknadoes, inside the mind of a tournament player. And I'm getting my list together, and I want to run a 4-source list. And you're like, nope, can't do it, 3-source. And I'm like, why? And they're like, ITC. And I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. I'm a 40k fat kid. I want to play with everything. I want to look at all these models.
You're telling me I can't run a Midstone Priest from Sisters of Battle and Codias and Grey Knights and Blood Angels and Ultramarines?
Nope, can't.
What the hell is this world coming to?
Yeah, seriously. You give me allies, but I can't have allies? What?
It's obviously it's they got their system, they got document management, and I do want to put the caveat out there before we get off topic. Off topic is frontline gaming is good for the hobby. ITC is good for the hobby. Reese and Frankie, they're good for the hobby. They are offering solutions to the hobby. We just have a different approach to offering solutions, and ultimately our country is founded on options. So you have more than one option, which is good.
Look, don't be sucking up to Frankie and Reese because you're moving out there.
They live in San Diego, which is German for a whale's vagina. So just put it in perspective, they don't even live in the same world as I'm living.
Dude, I don't think things 2 miles away from where you're living is like the same world from what I've heard about LA. But I don't really know.
Oh yeah. So let's break it down. I know a lot of things happened this week. I think we should spearhead it though. What's this Tyranid shit you're talking about?
Well, first off, I'm drinking out of a bucket because I haven't done my dishes in a week. So, in case anybody's wondering, bucket.
I think you might have fucked that one up because it looks like a lot more booze than Robbie B normally drinks.
No, you see, I just filled it up a little way because I filled it up. See, it says, hold up. There's diagrams.
Okay, I'm interrupting you now.
This is the 4 to 6 person right here. So I just filled it up to the 4 to 6 people.
Okay, we lost Haspel. Haspel's starting to say something. I can't hear him.
No, Haspel.
Which is very upsetting because I was about to ask him a question. Everyone's sorry. We apologize, guys. We're having some technical difficulties tonight. That's why we're 5 minutes late. I'm assuming Haspel might need to restart again, try to jump back in. He did have troubles getting in. I have a lot of questions I want to ask Haspel about the event he just won. Because he just went to a tournament and won it with his Grey Knights. So hopefully he can figure that out and we can get back to answering those questions. Juice might be also having technical difficulties. He's currently muted. So I'm gonna. So maybe.
I have some stuff to talk about. Some in general things.
Haspel says he'll be right back. He just sent us a.
He put up a hostage note.
He put up a hostage note.
Please call police. Have been taken hostage. Oh man. All right.
So Rob, break it down for us, man. I'll do my best since we don't have Juice or Haspel in here.
Oh well, first off, I got a lot of emails today from a lot of folks on a lot of different fronts. Some Long War stuff, some Patreon stuff, and I actually got a phone call today. Somebody that had trouble logging into the Long War site. So it turns out, if you ever have technical difficulties, the phone number on the Long War site is actually my cell phone, which I totally forgot about. So I was like, hello, and he's like, hi, I need help logging into the Long War. And I'm like,
oh my God, we're a real company.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I can help you with that. He's like, is this Rob? And I was like,
it is like, Rob. I'm so excited here.
I was like, yeah, well, what's up, man? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, this is my cell phone. And I was like kind of puzzled. He's like, it's the number on the...
How did you get this number, motherfucker?
Yeah, and he's like, it's the number on the site. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is.
I put it up there. I forgot.
No. Yeah, totally, wow. Everything is going crazy. My Sirius XM just kicked on my iPad. Anyways,
oh, my God. Sharknado night.
Sharknado is going crazy. So that was the Underworld Scribble mix on BPM. Love me some electronic dance music. Anyways, so if you call that number, you actually get me, but don't call that number very often unless you have a real emergency. It's just mostly emails. But that's what I was telling everybody. I hadn't got to all the emails today. There's a bunch, so I'm gonna answer them after the show and stuff. So Tyranids. So somebody got the electronic version of the White Dwarf and blew it up to the point where you could see 2 of the data slates that are coming next week in the White Dwarf. And this is the funny part: is these two Tyranid units, the Patriarch and the Favored Disciples, which is a squad of the first and second strain of hybrids, rules are literally better than most of the shit in the Tyranid book. And I'm kind of sad that Juice isn't here because I'm
gonna text him these rules to get his reactions. So we were fine.
Well, we could talk about some orc stuff real quick.
Okay, let's do orcs first.
All right, let's space it out. We'll do orcs. So the orcs got a new formation in their Start Collector set that comes out this week, and it is the box set is a Pain Boy, a unit of Orc Boys, a unit of Orc Knobs, and a Death Dread. So I think it's like $125 retail ish. So you save like $40 buying this box right off the bat. So if you're
Wait, hold on. So you save $40 and you get the Death Dread, which is obviously them trying to move a model that nobody buys.
True. We all know how dreadnoughts work.
Yo, seriously, fuck a dreadnought. I just can't even. I can't do one episode without talking about the problem with dreadnoughts. But
yeah,
Death Dread, cool. So Death Dread, but you save money.
Yeah, you save money. And you get a formation because everything GW puts out these days comes with a formation, right? So it's awesome. Yeah, it's great. So they have a special rule. It's called Pile on the Pain. Once per battle at the start of the movement phase, an orc pain mob can pile on the pain. When it does so, every unit from the formation that is locked in combat is also allowed to pile in and fight as if it were a fight subphase. But enemy units cannot fight back. Using this ability does not stop orc units from fighting again in the assault phase of the same turn.
Hold on a second. Read that again?
Okay, at the start of your movement phase, an orc pain mob can pile on to pain. When it does so, every unit from the formation that is locked in combat is allowed to pile in and fight as if it were.
So then it can fight twice.
Basically, yeah.
But does it prevent the enemy from attacking and out of phase?
Yeah, and it says, but enemy units cannot fight back, so they get free attacks with no reciprocation. That's
a really interesting rule. Okay, cool.
Yep. Using this ability does not stop the orcs from fighting again in the assault phase. So you could have a 30-man mob of boys, one unit of knobs, which is kind of ambiguous because technically you can take knobs on bikes.
Knob bikers. Literally, you can take a knob biker unit right out the gate like that. So you have to take one unit of boys, one unit of knobs,
a Death Dread, and a Pain Boy.
Okay, so Pain Boy is obviously really good.
Yep.
So Pain Boy on bike with the knob biker unit.
Yep.
Obviously good. Take a minimum boy unit, shove that shit aside, and you have to take a Death Dread. Okay, that's a pretty interesting text. I would take that. I would definitely take that. I think there's play there.
Yep, I'm a fan of that one. So I think some more players definitely got a bonus there because they got a Decurion now and the Face Ripper. He's actually pretty good too. Lets you run and assault.
Wait, the Ripper, the War Boss guy?
Yeah.
Wait, so did they change his rules or is it the same guy or?
It's the same guy.
So he still has like Skill Rider and all that shit?
No, he's on foot. He has a little squig. I actually don't have his rules.
I'm talking about the thing Juice is coming in silent. I think we got Haspel back and Juice back.
Yo, yeah, definitely here. Yo, what up? I just wanted you to know I just beat the hell out of the internet's ass. Let me tell you what, Stone Cold Steve Austin shotgun about 17 beers all over this internet, making it my bitch right now.
So, sometimes you just got to do that.
So you know what? As you're talking about the orcs, that's where I came in at. Like, how awesome is it to have the coolest names of every character in the history of ever? Face Ripper, Nut Smasher,
God Stomper.
Yeah, Wazdak a Nutsack. Like, are you kidding me? Like, these guys are animals. So, can we please, since before potentially I have to throw the internet into another DDT, can we please talk about this cult? This Gene Stealer cult stuff. Robbie V, is that possible?
Yeah, we can do that. So there's two rules that we know of for sure right now. We don't know the points on the new Patriarch model, but here's a stat line. Tell me what you think of the stat line.
Hit me.
Weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 0. So that'll come into play here in a second. Strength 5, toughness 5, wounds 3, initiative 7, attacks 4, leadership 10, 4-up save, infantry.
All right, so we don't know his point cost, or we do?
We don't, no.
Okay, he's literally almost verbatim to a Broodlord as of right now, still with the shitty save. So what else? Do we have any rules on him?
Okay, so bulky, fearless, fleet, hit and run, independent character, infiltrate, move through cover, psyker, mastery level 2, and stealth.
Okay, so he's got stealth where Broodlord does not.
Yep, okay. But here's the kicker. The Patriarch generates his powers from the telepathy discipline.
What? You're telling me I don't care if they would have told me it's telekinesis. I don't care if they would have told me it's that dumbass one where all you get is molten beam. I don't care. Matter of fact, isn't that the tree? That we get telekinesis? Isn't that the tree you just said?
No, telepathy.
Oh, we actually get telepathy. I was like, oh, matter of fact, I do only get Molten Beam, but I wouldn't care. I would still roll on it. So, Robbie B, so is there any rules where it's talking about like this integrated?
So you get telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Telepathy is an interesting chart.
It is.
Telepathy is actually, obviously you got like biomancy, which is really strong, but I think Tyranids used to roll in that a lot back in the day.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Divination is one of the stronger charts. Pyromancy is kind of one of the weaker charts. Then you've got, telepathy and telekinesis. Now, telepathy is obviously super strong. Telepathy has stealth and shroud and invisibility.
Yeah. Also, the problem is Shriek doesn't really come into play here because he's ballistic skill 0.
Yeah, that's okay word, but he still gets.
Wow.
Basically, if you get shroud, shroud is good, but like obviously invisibility would change the Tyranid army.
Yeah, also, but I'm gonna go with Shroud because if I can get a Shroud bubble and all of a sudden now he has stealth, now we've got stealth and Shroud for that unit.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, you're right. It's +3 to their cover save.
Kenny, does stealth will that confer to the unit that he's with?
Yeah, as long as a model in the unit has it, As long as it's actually stealth.
Okay, now, Robbie B, did you say he is an independent character as well?
He is.
Okay, cool. So he can actually, unless otherwise stated, he can be thrown into units out of the Tyranid Codex, correct?
Now, that's the thing we don't know yet. I'm assuming that he's going to be allies with Tyranids. I'm also assuming that they're going to be allies with Imperial Guard. Don't know yet for sure.
Excuse me, I just lost blood pressure to my brain because it all went to my raging boner that I have right now. Are you kidding me? Like my two favorite, so first off, my all-time greatest favorite army in the history of ever, Nids, and now with the love that I've been playing and the passion that I've been playing with my IG, that I can potentially merge these two together in a legal format without people complaining and saying, "Oh, you're just doing it for power. You're just doing with this."
Well, it turns out that's how Gene Stealer cults kind of work. They kind of worm their way into the Imperium, so to speak. So I wouldn't be surprised, but it's not going to be long until we find out. This stuff's going to drop either over the weekend or by Monday, I'm sure.
I want to cut you guys off right there because I do want to see if Haspel's back in.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, I'm alive.
I did want to take an opportunity to talk about the tournament he just played at because I remember getting a bunch of pictures. Rolling up against some Tau stuff. Be like, oh, I lost on my Dread Knights in turn 2. Like, I remember getting all these messages on your Facebook page, these hard matches where you're losing Dread Knights left and right, and then all of a sudden the last post was, I won the tournament.
Yep.
So walk me through that.
Yeah. So I won best overall, so it surprised me, but my paint score sportsmanship comp just put me over the top. I only lost one game, and that was against the real super cheap Stompa. The guy's list was rough. He was running Knob Bikers with the cheap mech Stompa.
That's the list we talked about in the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was hurtful, man. So he just ran the Stompa right down my throat. I didn't have very much of a choice, but to assault it, I had 3 Dread Knights. I was like, well, this is my only chance of getting rid of it, but I already know what's going to happen. The thing has 12 hull points. Technically, if my Dread Knights do not whiff, I hit them first, blow them up. But that'll never happen with my dice. So he killed all 3 of them with D weapons, which I freaking hate because of that. It's just removed. They don't even take wounds. It's just removed from play. But he was a good guy, a good opponent. The next game I played was against Imperial Guard. Pretty good balanced guard list. And the Grey Knights just decided to play with clown shoes on. I had 2 deep strike mishaps. I mean, it was just absolutely retarded. And sisters, I was running with a little allied squad of sisters. And sisters
you're running your little exorcists too? Or?
Yeah, double exorcist, 2 mid squads of sisters, and a canoness. And the sisters came through and won that game for me. Sat right on the objectives. I was able to do that. It was Emperor's Will. Yeah. And then the last one was against Mech Tau, and it looked really, really bad. But what was really sad about that game, but it was hilarious, is both of us, I think in the last turn of that game, both of us did not roll above a 3 on any of our dice.
Luckily,
Like-
you only need 2s for your army.
Well, it was like a slap fight. It was like we couldn't hit, we couldn't wound, we couldn't do anything. It was pathetic. And in the last thing, I needed to get some charges off and to get kind of like the major victory instead of a minor victory. I failed both charges on double ones. It was just absolutely
Classic Mike Haspel.
It was, and I would have been frustrated, except my opponent was doing the exact same thing. Like, so it was just like neither the Tau or the Grey Knights really wanted to fight that day. They just kind of wanted to chill. So their hearts weren't in it. But yeah, it was a good tournament.
Well, congratulations on the big win. Hobby Score's coming to clutch. Let's also quickly talk about, since we're on the subject, is the Long War doubles primer that Horton, who was just on the show last week, he was on the podcast last week, he just ran a primer using the format, doing a doubles event. He had like over 20 teams.
Mm-hmm.
He made it so that if you were a one-man team, you follow the same restrictions, you could still play. So I think the majority of them were actually two-man teams, though.
Yeah, to be honest, there would have only been one-man team that he came solo by himself from.
That was
our buddy Lassen. Yeah, so he just couldn't find anybody to play, and also he made a long drive. So sometimes definitely we ended up having 3 one-mans just because there wasn't somebody who's going to have a bye. So luckily, EJ and Gray as a combo team, great friends of the show.
They came
personally
prepared in case that happened, so they can split off into individual teams to make it even again.
Absolutely. So it's, it might have seemed like some people would take advantage of it, but literally nobody shy of one in Lassen's list was fully prepared to have anybody kind of step in and run one of those as well. What a great, Saturday. What a great way to spend a weekend. I played in it. Me and Austin A-Dog were teamed up with Astra Militarum, some IG in full force, and it was an amazing 3-round event.
What does it mean to be a veteran of the longwar.net? You are the first in the door to all exclusive content, and your clearance will be raised for the earliest access. You can enlist for free. When you're a veteran of the longwar.net, you are the front line to bringing hobby back. Join our Hall of Veterans at thelongwar.net.
I want to say that, so we've made some adjustments to the way we score it, and so we're getting some more positive scoring results now from the Bringing Hobby Back Vibe. Post Adepticon, we're going to probably update the literature because I got so much intel from Horton and some other people who have been running the format. So we're probably going to have some sick new updates coming out on the Beats Laboratory after Adepticon. But right now, you can go to longwar.net and you can download the tournament pack. Check out the podcast. We made some adjustments to the page to make it easier for everybody. You will be seeing some Inside the Mind of a Tournament Player games with good old A-Dog, Austin, and Juice. But I do want to say, one last thing on the subject is, so we did get the field look good. Sportsmanship scores were definitely diverse. Composition scores were definitely diverse, but not nearly as accurate as I wanted them to be, but way more accurate than they have been before when we were reporting them. And if you guys remember, a couple months ago, I said, I promise you that in this Bringing Hobby Back world, the guy who gets highest battle points will probably get 6th place because he will probably bring an army. If somebody maxed out battle points, they will probably have done that with an army and an attitude, that didn't make friends. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. The highest battle points placed 5th, where there was people with a full loss that were top 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted no, absolutely, and that's Kenny, what a great point, and that's exactly what it was. And I just wanted to kind of throw the pulse out there in the room was that people actually were talking in between games, on rounds, everything else about how, normally my list has this, but because of the composition, they brought this. I do like this, but man, this was such a fun thing, and I like the composition. It literally kept some things at bay, and also just a whole overall event the weekend. I was seeing people at events that normally we wouldn't see, right? Haspel, I know we talk about this, and, I keep it usually asking is some of those, I know because you talk about it a lot, is there's some of the gamers that you play with don't show up to events because they don't like those beat stick lists. They don't like this and this. To be honest, in the North Carolina scene, we were seeing people come out of the closet that potentially normally wouldn't show it up to an event that actually were. So it was really nice. And lastly, I had some people come up and ask and talk a little bit more, and we will go more into the composition scores and what that actually truly means. Composition, your comp score on your list does not reflect the person. It doesn't reflect how cool they are, what a great game they had, how awesome, how many times they made you laugh. That has nothing to do with composition. I had 3 phenomenal games, screaming, laughing, jumping, butt clenching, dice rolling games. Like, I couldn't imagine 3 better games, but some of their composition wasn't the same. You know what I mean? Like, again, just if you haven't already, it just dropped in the Hall of Vets, my High Fleet Lexus with the Damastron, with all these other things. It's the most fluffiest nidless that you can think of, right? People would immediately think, oh, that's an 8, and I'm just using myself as an example. I had a Sky Shield landing pad in it, right? Let me just tell you what that immediately does, and I knew it going into it. That immediately, for the most part, takes me out of that 8 chase to get the max points on composition, because I literally took something that was the sole purpose was to make me win a game, versus I took the hobby aspect out of it and literally put it in to directly benefit me. So I could have put that 75 points somewhere else, but I didn't. I chose to put it here. So just everybody make sure you guys realize that if you play in a composition score, it is not the same thing as sportsmanships. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, sportsmanship to me means I don't want to play this guy again. You know what I mean? Or I love this guy, I will play him every single chance I get. But comp is different. You can be my best friend and bring a list I don't agree with, for that one game. You know what I mean? I'm like, really? You're going to roll 5 Wraith Knights? You're really going to do that? Oh, well, okay, I guess we're doing this. I guess this is happening. But you know what I mean? That's the big difference for me.
Honestly, what I like about it, based on your point there, is what I like honestly is ultimately a comp system like we're running is going to have an impact on sportsmanship too, because there's a difference, as Juice mentioned. They're still kind of linked, because if you bring a shitty list, that is unsporting. You know what I mean? Like, that's almost the definition of unsporting.
Well, both the sports and your comp go into playing with your opponent.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is they are 2 different scores, which you should address in 2 different ways. But you will find that people will think about it, because we do a gold, silver, bronze ranking system for our sportsmen to create separation and also create a drive. And you will find that when people are I don't know who to pick for my favorite because I love these 2 guys, they're in their mind, they're going to go back to their comp. They're going to be like, yeah, but these guys brought 5 Wraith Knights, even though they're the greatest guys on earth. They're not my favorite anymore. They're second.
Right.
Because while they're trying to pick who their favorite, second favorite, least favorite was. So they all do intrinsically matter, and we're getting to the bottom of it. We're going to start creating scores that separate it, make it more clear, because we have been getting feedback negatively and positively, but we're going to address it all positively, because we don't write these rules to play we don't write these rules not to enhance the world. We're trying to do our best. And so everything that's been posted online, on the Facebook group, on the Long War Devils Primer Facebook page, and on Spikey Bits page, we're reading every single one of those, and we're adapting, and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah. And as a quick segue, when I was muted back before and couldn't talk, how Rob was talking about the different ITC stuff where you couldn't bring more than 3 detachments or whatever. The ITC, they're doing their 2016 poll right now, and they're thinking of bumping it up to 4, and there's actually a thing on there that says unlimited as far as detachments go. And one of the questions here that somebody's asking, I just wrote it down, was Fallen Cipher was asking, how do we feel if the ITC goes to 1,500 points? Because that's actually one of the questions that they have on there, is going down to 1,500 points. And for the big tournaments, I can see the appeal of it, but honestly, if I traveled all the way to Vegas or something, I would rather not play 1,500 points. But I understand, to our friends in the UK, that's what the Warhammer World tourneys were for the longest time. They were all 1,500 points. So,
well, remember too, the UK, while it is a great country and all, it's the size of a couple of states on the East Coast. So it's kind of like, can I take my army to Pennsylvania at 1,500 points? No, I would rather, take 1,850.
Yeah. I'm gonna drive. If I'm gonna fly to Las Vegas.
Yeah, if I'm going to fly to
South
Vegas,
Carolina.
I'm probably not going to bring an orc cord. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
But would you prefer, say, okay, and this is completely hypothetical. I have no idea what Reese and Frankie have in mind. But would you mind playing 1,500 points if you played 8 rounds instead of just 6?
I would, yes. If I'm playing 8 rounds, but that's a bananas amount of rounds.
So there obviously there's pros and cons here. And I'll say this is what I've been saying to people all week who've been asking me, like, what do you think? What do you think? I was like, I'll tell you straight up. Like, I've been in this industry for a long time. I know all the people. I know all the TOs. I've heard all the discussions that were not meant to be public discussions. I've heard everything behind closed doors, and I've heard everything that was meant for people to be heard. And I'll summarize it like this. The reason that people want to go to 1,500 points is because it's easier to run.
Yep, it's easier to run. It's easier to time out. It's easier to wrap up.
It's a shorter day. And so, I would be shocked if they went to 1,500 points and also went to 8 rounds, but I don't think that's going to be the situation. I'm very confident it will go if they went to 1,500 points, it would stay exactly the same as it is right now. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to have faster days, quicker round times, actually get through them quicker, everything. And this is not just coming from, this is not a prediction. This is like, I've heard this behind closed doors of many TOs who had big tournaments. So what I'm saying is, though, is like that's 9 times out of 10 what the reasoning for going to 1,500 points is. But 10 out of 10, this is what you're going to hear. Now, and just wait for when you start hearing it. 1,500 points is such a more tactical game. You don't even understand. Once you start playing it, it's going to change your life. It's so tactical. The limitations make you think more. It makes it more accessible to everybody. More people are going to be able to play. Like, seriously, and then you're going to hear a bunch of people saying, yeah, man, it is. And it's going to just keep going and keep going. And you're going to hear that argument pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
When in the end of the day, that is the political argument for making the thing you want happen without saying, I just want to work less to make my tournament.
Man, right. That's how I push my bills through Congress, Kenny. Don't be telling
1,500 points is not a fucking real point system in 2016. Like, we have fucking things that cost 350 points.
I will throw this out there, and as a dissuader, right, is that Grey Knights can dominate at 1,500 points.
So Space Marines.
But if you let me do 3 Nemesis Strike Forces, I can take 6 Dread Knights at 1,500 points.
Right, and so I agree. Being a Chaos Space Marine player, that's the only point level I'm really truly competitive at. But guess what else? Like, there's a lot of people who can't even come to play at that point level. There's literally all you do is make Eldar, yet still the strongest. Everybody who relies on 250 point models, they have a harder time of it. And so it just changes it changes some of the competitive things for some people, enhances it for other people. But at the end of the day, the less models available to you is the worse. It's worse.
Let me tell you, Eldar gets better.
Eldar gets better.
Eldar gets better. I'm biased.
The other thing is, there's some formations. I mean, you guys heard me raving about the Black Mains last podcast. Mm-hmm. Some of those formations are pretty much impossible to take at 1,500 points.
Right.
Oh, that's true too.
But then some of them are literally insane with, like, all the free shit you get.
Right.
So I mean, all it does is make unnecessary, like, strain it unnecessarily. Like you said, I'm not going to travel to play 1,500 points, and the argument you're going to hear is how tactical it is. But dog, please, 1850 is just as tactical. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, how much better does the Lion's Blade or the Gladius get at 1,500 points, or even the War Convocation?
I think it would be a bigger argument if they were going from 2,000 down to 1,500. You know what I mean? But from 1,850, I'm like, I don't know. I would have serious second thoughts about traveling out for.
We don't play a game. We don't play a game anymore that works at that point level, like in a balanced sense of the word. Like, they just they throw out things that are competitively pointed for sure, but they also, like, back in 3rd edition when 1,500 points was standard, we didn't have 200 point models. Like,
yeah, I mean, one thing I would look at is, like, it's pretty simple to say, like, I mean, 1850 is definitely, in my opinion, is almost where you want to be at tournament wise. And this is why I say that. It literally, look at the chess match that you have in Army list, Army composition, and things that you're going to run up against because of the higher pointed cost units, because of the potential of small MSU, and how many small MSU things you can get in. Versus at 1,500, you are basically like, nope, don't have to worry about seeing this, don't have to worry about seeing this, don't have to worry about seeing this, and it's not like it's the obnoxious 2,500 point, which was and still potentially could be one of my favorite values to point play at, but like for the competitive scene, it's not where it should be because it is too much, it's too strong, too much emphasis is relied on turn one, just because of the sheer amount of firepower you have and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would say 1850. It would be a tough argument for me to say it's more competitive. If you're going to do it, call a spade a spade. Hey, guys, we want to go to 1,500 points because we can guarantee 7 games in.
Yeah, if they start saying that, if they literally are just like out front with it, that's a totally different thing because I'd be with that because I wouldn't matter. I wouldn't mind playing a couple more games. Like if you took that extra 30 minutes to save per round and you gave me like another round or another bracket to get more accurate results, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and Nick Bush is pointing out that at 1,500 you can get the War Convocation, and it gets a lot better because you get like 350 points of free stuff.
So they're playing 1850 and everyone else playing 1,500 points.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that could be said about that. Like, again, like we know how aggressively pointed Eldar is, and I hate to keep going back to it, but like, I mean, you can't make up the difference at 1850 at this. At least you have other people have the point to once you're X good, it's hard to get gooder. You know what I mean? Like
more, I believe the term's more gooder.
More better.
Yeah. So but as some of these other armies are allowed to come in there and stuff like that. Also, I think back in 6th edition and things, or in 5th edition when 1,500 points was a thing, or even in 4th, we didn't have to worry about all these all this other aspect. It's like you literally had, even back in the day, 1,500 points was great because it was like 25% of your army had to be HQ, 50% of your army had to be troops. This, when they had the point breakdown, they literally had built-in composition scores within itself. So, it was the game was a completely different game at that point in time versus to try to still roll over that same point value. If anything else, I could see it might even be, now that I'm talking myself into it, I could even make a case that 2K is actually the most balanced.
I'd love to play 2K. Honestly, I'm super it took me literally 3 years to accept 1850 without being angry.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I hate it. I want to play 2K. But like I said, the campaign we all played 2K in 5th edition. The campaign to go to the campaign to go to 1850 was under the 6th edition's got more rules. It's harder. Let's drop it down. I was like, dog, TOs are going to use any excuse they can to make it a smaller game, and so they'll latch on to whatever they need to. When we changed editions, that was the excuse. But now that we gotten good at it, why haven't we gone back up to 2K? Because when you give up a right in exchange for a privilege in the grand scheme of things, you never get it back.
No takesy backsies.
So we went all the way up to 2K. We slipped down to 1850. We gave it up. We're never going back. So now they're trying to make us go down to 1,500.
So go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to address some stuff real quick. So some folks are saying that at LVO some games didn't get past 3 or 4. Turn 4. I finished every one of my games but one, and that was against an Orc Green Tide, and the guy was playing fast, but it's Orcs, so it's going to take a little bit longer, and we still got to turn 5. It just timed out, so people just got to get good. That's my answer to that.
Get good, motherfuckers.
I'm like, you have 2.5 hour rounds. You can't make it to turn 5.
If you're an Eldar player, if you're playing Eldar and you didn't get out of turn 4, I could literally hate you.
Yeah, somebody's slow playing, somebody's goofing off. They had 2.5 hour rounds there, and Evan asked, what about 1750? And I think there were some events that ran at 1750. I just Rob, they're killing me.
Oh, Rob, you are literally might as well be playing the soda bongo drums right now.
Yo, what do you got against more rocks?
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah,
1750 Haspel was so in 3rd edition we played 1500, right? And then 4th edition came out and went to 1750. We played all these GTs at 1750. Then we went up to 1850 in 5th, and then by the end of 5th it was standardized at 2K. So we went up because there was a whole 2 years we played 1750.
But I felt with 1750, and this is completely irrational, I have no data to back this up, that 1750 is like the bastard child of 1850. Like it's like you really
Agreed.
would prefer to play
100%.
1850,
This is
but
stupid.
but you're stuck playing 1750.
So yeah, see, I agree. It's ridiculous. Before we before we cap out of the show, because obviously we're gonna do the podcast, we're gonna break down all the shit we didn't break down in detail because we got off on a tangent here talking about the 1500, and we'll probably leave this 1500 conversation here on the Long War for the vets who tuned in and who can tune in later to watch, and we'll go hard in the paint on all the new formations, everything on the podcast. So there'll be a reason for you guys to re-listen. But I do want to say that Famous Amos said that Sal from Chicago says hi. First off, Sal,
Oh,
OG,
Sal.
one of the original veterans of the Long War. He says he's off asking his lady's parents for her hand in marriage right now.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Good luck, my man.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
that
Deal.
Good luck. That's been in my queue. I wanted to mention that. Like, you guys continue, please.
Yo,
Oh yeah,
please,
Juice,
Sal.
you're gonna say something before
Yeah,
we
Sal.
broke.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So two things, Sal. Let me know. I'll cater your wedding, and sing. I do both, and I won't charge you for the singing. That'll be free. I'll only charge you for the food. So Lou is checking in, wanting to know. We're talking about all this composition score and stuff like that. Where can that information kind of be found? Because he is potentially wanting to run a tournament at the good old DK, wanting to know about maybe using that kind of scoring system.
So just go to longwar.net, and when you type it in, there'll be a box over on the right that says like tournament downloads, I think.
Tournament. I think it's like tournament pack. So we have a new landing page. Like our home page has recently been revised with some better links. So the buttons panel at the top of the web page, which you guys are familiar with now, has added a couple new features. We've added the tournament pack download. We've also added a link directly to the podcast hosted by Libsyn, so you can get, so it's way easier, cuts iTunes and Facebooks and all those things out of the equation. So if you need that. Additionally, we've also renamed the Long War home button to Hall of Veterans to make it easier for people to understand. So longwar.net, everything will be easy once you get there, my man.
Yo, I feel like we have a couple minutes and we can literally bang through this question with some great content. Omega One wants to know, especially with you guys here being some of the great minds in the Space Marine area or era, what chapter tactics should I use for his Iron Warriors counts as Space Marine army?
Are we talking about thematically or just to win?
Well, it sounds like potentially to win, and here's the stipulation, or here's his list composition. His army consists of literally 60 combat squatted TAC Marines, then 30 combat squatted scouts with triple Vindicators.
Honestly, Ultramarines, I think, are the most thematic. Back me up on this, Rob, because they can reroll their mishits and shit.
Yep.
That's a
and
very
you can take that formation and shoot the big gun too.
That's a very Iron Warriors thing. The Ultramarines combat very vanilla tactical Marines being able to like reroll shit is very Iron Warriors.
Considering that he's got all those TAC Marines, and I don't know, it doesn't go too much into saying about the special weapons and stuff, but what do you think about Bolter Drill with something like Imperial Fist?
Bolter Drill's a poor man's Ultramarine doctrine, unless you go. I mean, Sentinels of Terror has like straight up reroll, I think.
Yeah.
Reroll Bolter Drill on bolters. But the Ultramarine version of it is reroll all the weapons.
Yeah.
Like the las cannon, the missile launcher, the melta gun, the flamer, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So like I mean, yes, I think that the Imperial Fist / Sentinels of Terror supplement is very good too, but it's not quite as tactical as the Ultramarines.
Yep, I completely agree with that.
So we also have Sam checking in, wanting to know, what do you guys think? Just got some Tempestus Scions. I'm going to try to make these guys work. To be honest, I don't know about you guys, and Haspel, you can weigh in here with some of the West Coast love in the tournament scene. I haven't seen any Tempestus Scions. Zero.
I saw somebody using them as veterans.
Yeah, a lot of people use them as veterans or Castricans, I guess.
Yeah, I've literally never seen them either. I play a lot of games too, so I'm not equipped to answer any questions on the subject.
Yo, Sam, so furthermore, you be our Tempestus Scion guru and let us know what your potential, what you're thinking about running if you do play in an event or some lists, and how it goes for you.
Yeah. And then Evan Valdyke said that at 1,500 points, you can't bring anything good for the Blood Angels. And then he had a twofer because he said that the Blood Angel, all these new releases are making him sad. He's a Blood Angels player.
Oh man, getting so many emails and messages on the Facebook page on this subject.
The struggle is real, my friend.
What do I do? It's like, yo, straight up, we've said it for years. It's Blood Angels in name only, man. Blood Angels are best suited as an ally or with allies. Like I'll tell. Here's a great example. Sanguinary Priest with the Angel's Wings, 5 scouts. Hooked up with Clan Racken, Iron Hands, Devastator Centaurians. So he makes them have a 4-up, feel no pain. Then you add Drago in there, so they have Gate of Infinity. And now the Angel's Wings lets you reroll the Deep Strike on the Gate of Infinity and the Perils. So that way you augment them in 2 different ways by just being a Sanguinary Priest with a Relic. So like that. So to me, like that's just currently, unfortunately, that's the strength of Blood Angels right now. They don't have Centaurians. They don't have ballistic. They don't have weapon skill, ballistic skill 4 scouts. They don't have 4-wound characters outside of Lords of War. Like that's the only way you can play them right now.
And if you have the misfortune of having a whole bunch of Blood Angel Marines with or assault troops with jump packs,
at least you can play Flesh Terror Strike Force.
Well, that or start playing 30k because that's one of their war traits.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think, Kenny, you touched on this list a little bit ago, but like one of the most competitive build would be somewhat in the area of units of fatty, expensive assault marines that have a lot of punch that because of Flesh Terror Strike Force and being a ballsy player will get you in combat turn 1.
Agreed. But Rob is right though. Like if you play Blood Angels and you're looking for a way to play them and just as Blood Angels and not with the ally worlds, 30k is the game for you, man. Because 30k is almost mere match time. You know what I mean? There's like enough differences that they're different armies, but it's almost mere match.
Yeah, and that's a little easy because Robbie B is blessed enough to have a full 30k army all tricked out, which is looking.
He has a totally tricked out Blood Angels 30k army.
So, and we've already touched on in previous episodes where sometimes people who put that much time and effort and money into playing 30k, you know, if your models aren't to the same par or maybe have the same armor and stuff like that, you can maybe make some people a little butthurt. So if you do decide to dive into that realm, just make sure you fill your local 30k community out. Probably most people won't have an issue with it, but you know, it's always better to talk to the community instead of just assuming.
So I have a vote for the last Q&A before we jump into the podcast. Fallen Cypher, I would love for this to be the last one we talk about. Our boy Marshall. He says, 5 Furiosa Dreadnoughts and Lucius Pattern drop hides. Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation, question.
The question and the exclamation is, I like it.
I just want to say, if I lose to that army, I will literally eat my hat. Like, they're dreadnoughts, dog. They literally suck.
Yeah.
Like, they come in, they charge some things, and then they get blown up by melter guns. Like,
well, I feel like that army's actually good in 30k too.
Right. I mean, like, it's dope that if you have Lucius Pattern drop pods because you can assault out of them. But like, so I guess you'd be taking 2 CADs, so you can take 6 Lucius Pattern dreadnoughts or drop pods. It'd be dope, but you know, I guess an Eldar player. So what, you're gonna charge like 3 Wraith Knights with that shit? Like,
I mean, you could.
You could. Please, by all means. You're gonna. I mean, it's like they're just gonna deep strike all the warp spiders and shit, and then just blow you up on your back armor. It's
true story.
Dreadnoughts. You don't have to get me started on it. Dreadnoughts are not the answer. I will say though, some of my favorite Blood Angel armies do use Furiosa Dreadnoughts. Couple of them in drop pods with frag assault launchers. I do feel like that is something that Blood Angels have that other people don't have. Is that Dreadnought's armor 13 and it has some cool weapons. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a Dreadnought that costs over 100 points. That literally can get one-shotted by anything in the game. You know, I just don't. For the points, I don't like it.
Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword because a lot of times it gets one-shotted when you throw it in a melter gun or in a drop pod. It usually gets one-shotted by the melter gun that wouldn't shoot anything for 4 turns if you didn't drop in front of it. You know, so like it's not like it would die to the normal stuff that it would anyway, because then you're like, of course I'm going to take a drop pod because I have a chance. But literally the one thing I've always hated about dropping Dreadnoughts is because I am giving you infinity inches. It's like making sure on turn 1 your melter gun is 48-inch range. That's what's the equivalent of. Like if not, it wasn't going to shoot for 4 turns.
I'll tell you what, though. Last on the subject from me, I'm not speaking for anybody else. Is if you want to play a 5 Dreadnought drop pod list, Company of the Great Wolf, Blizzard Shield Dreadnoughts, you can play 5 of them on coming down on turn 1. And they have 3+ invulnerables on their front armor.
Much better.
So, like, if you were going to do this, like, it's all about Dreadnoughts not getting blown up, and 3+ invulnerables is the first step in that equation.
Yeah. Are Ironclads armor 13?
They are, no, well, Ironclads are, but the Blizzard Shield guys aren't. But they have a 3+ invulnerable, so. And a massive crafted weapon and shit.
That's true story. I could go with liking 3 Ironclad or 3 to 6 Ironclads because I like the weapon systems that are on there. To actually maybe do a little more firepower depending on.
Remember the Furioso can have the frag assault launcher, which is 2 strength 6 rending flamers plus a heavy flamer. So it's literally 3 flamers and 2 of them strength 6 rending. That's really good.
Yeah, true story.
Like, that's really good. And their weapons skill 5 too, I think, the Furiosos. So the Furiosos don't fucking play games. They're good. Mm-hmm. They're good if they were aggressively pointed or they were monstrous creatures.
Until next time.
Word. Couldn't go one episode without saying that.
So much to do. All right, well, we're gonna leave this up for a little while for you guys to check out because we're a little late tonight. But if you're watching this, you're a veteran of the Long War, so hey, thanks everybody for coming out tonight and watching it. And we made it through the Sharknado. We'll see you on the podcast. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody?
You're being kidnapped by the Light FM.
You always got to beat us down with your hilarious quotes.
It's always something stupid.
Man, talk about hilarious. We have quite the show for everybody tonight because let's just say the Tyranids got better and we only know 2 of the rules that are coming out here soon out of the new Death Watch box. But lots to talk about, lots of new Tyranids, lots of new orcs, lots of new products. We got a great webcast recap, had a ton of folks in there early this evening. We all survived the crazy Sharknadoes in North Carolina. So let's jump right into it. Haspel, hit us with that new Horus Heresy joint.
Right. So Nomad Games on Steam came out with a Talisman Horus Heresy. It was a game I was looking forward to for a while. I happen to enjoy Talisman. A lot of people think it's a little bit too random, that there's not enough skill or strategy involved. And for those who are not in the know, Talisman is a board game that Games Workshop came out with, I don't know, like 30 years ago. It was a long time ago. Fantasy Flight Games now has the license, and they've made Talisman and its better little brother, Relic, which is actually set in the 40k universe. So Nomad Games did Talisman Horus Heresy, obviously set in 30k, has all your character Primarchs and stuff in there. The game is absolutely beautiful. It is gorgeous. But it doesn't really change Talisman. So if you're a fan of Talisman, that's great. If you're not a fan of Talisman, doesn't bring anything new to the table.
Did you say 30 years ago they made that board game?
I want to say Talisman is like
that is like a half of a Robbie B.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the first games Games Workshop came out with. I'll look it up later.
Rob, did you play that game?
I'll fill it in, but
I played it. I played it in its various incarnations.
Did you play it when it dropped?
No.
So, just to make sure this is the same Talisman, is this the one where like you're playing and you're going around the map and then you could turn into a frog or something and lose all your upgrades and war gear?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? What a fun ass game! Like I've played that on a board game night with some of the friends. A great friend of the show, Lucas Sutherland and stuff like that, and he's always into board games. I'm like, board games are stupid.
They are stupid, right?
But I'll play with you. It's fine. Like, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like 30 minutes into Talisman, I'm like, oh, I'm the rogue. Stole all your shit, dog. Like, you're telling me I get a chance to either do something in this square or steal something from you? Obviously, I'm stealing something from you.
Obviously.
Like, oh, man, there has been some epic Kraken being drank Talisman nights. Like, so Haspel, I'm with you now. Now I know what board game we're talking about.
Miller and Bud Lights being slam dunked.
Yeah, some of the finest, coldest Rocky Mountain beer there is.
It's imported.
Keystone Light, that is.
Keystone Lights, and so someone may or may not get iced.
Yes. Oh man.
Oh, okay, so my Google Food just kicked in, And Talisman was first demoed at Games Day, 1983.
That's the year I was fucking born, guys.
Like, to put that in perspective, I don't think Quiet Riot's Mental Health had come out yet. I think that's a 1984 album.
Dog, I was.
Wow,
it came out the year I was born.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What about Domo Arigato?
Rob, I mean, I don't think Juice was born yet.
No, I wasn't. I was still just a one of 10,065,000 in old pops there. Yo, so can I want to crack out just for a couple minutes on anybody who's played this game and tell you about a funny ass story from Talisman, if you don't guys mind. So I immediately gravitate when I play D&D or anything else. Like, I like rogues, spell thieves, anything kind of stuff like that, because it's a little out of my character. Normally I would always play like a barbarian or something, so I'm like, what would I do that would be out of my character? It's like word, so I'll do this. So anyway, I immediately found out that in Talisman you can only carry but so many items, so you have to have thrallings and horses and all these things, right? So I literally, from like starting out, I have like 4 goats or whatever the card was that allows me to carry more items than this. And Luke and some of the people at the table like, you don't even have any items yet. You don't even have any items. What are you doing? I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what I'm doing on this side of the table. Next thing I know, 2 hours later, I have stolen everything from just about everybody. I have every item all tracked out on all these carts. I'm laughing at everybody like, ha ha, I knew this would happen. I've been setting y'all up for 2.5 hours. I'm the best at this game. Almost ready. I actually went around the map a couple more times to fill out all these other items that I wanted, right? Before I trounced right up in there in the center and little Dumbledore's castle there and to win, right? Next thing I know, I'm like, oh, there's a chance that this and this happens, blah, 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 whatever. I draw a card, some fluke of anything, and I turn into a toad and I drop everything. Absolutely everything. I've been talking 2.5 hours of straight shit after I made this happen. Awesome. I got overzealous, went around one too many times, got turned into a damn frog for 3 turns, lost all my shit, and basically blew 2.5 hours of my night. Like, this is stupid again. Now I remember why I hate board games.
do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Drop all your shit on the ground.
Yo, that's exactly what happened. Like, oh man.
In the 40k version of this game, the board game, it's called Relic. Like Mike was saying, it's kind of random at the beginning because a little grot to like a commissar to like a tech priest to like a space marine. Now imagine you're the dude that gets the grot.
Yeah, yo, seriously, that's why I'm like, I am always like, and even in role playing games, if I took the ranger, I would take a bow, and I was like, because people told me I couldn't do it, I couldn't make a powerful creature, a range character with a bow because of damage reduction and higher levels, this and this. Literally 2 years later, the DM is calling me up, like having life talks with me, like, dog, you've got to tone your character down. There's nothing that I can do, like shy of me putting you in force boxes and shit like that. Like, you guys should have told me I couldn't do it. But like, so like literally when I saw this game, I was like, fine, I'll play this stupid game and I'm going to do something outside the box. And that's what I came up with, man. It was actually probably the funnest board game. I'll even say I've had cool stories like that with that game versus Space Hulk, where I thought it was cool, but they're not my regular Gene Stealers. You know what I mean? Like, I actually had more fun playing the Talisman aspect than stories of, any other game. So,
well, yeah. Well, here's the downside, right? I'll get to that in just a second. But essentially, instead of making it to the castle in the middle, you're making it to the Vengeful Spirit. And you can play as like loyalist Primarchs or loyalist characters or obviously the Chaos Primarchs. And so if you're playing the Chaos guys, you got to make it to the Vengeful Spirit to kill the Emperor. If you're playing the loyalists, you got to get there to kill Horse. But to get there, you have to get a talisman, hence the game, the name of the game. So the downside of this right now is that it is talisman. It doesn't bring anything new. And as of right now, the way it's perfect is if you're playing with 3 other people that are separated geographically. If you have no way of playing talisman with your buds, and you want to play a 40k flavored version of Talisman over on Steam, this is the way to do it. It works well. Nomad has done an outstanding job of porting the game pretty much directly from the board game right there. And like I said, the graphics are beautiful. It's gorgeous. All the cards look great, everything like that. What I feel they need to do is, because they're not going to obviously release a board game version of this because Relic already exists. So they're not going to do that. But what I feel they need to do is put it out on the tablet, because then at least it's not on tablet right now. I'm guessing because the regular Talisman that the same company has made is out for tablets. So my guess is it's coming. But yeah, so I feel like if you had this on a tablet, then you can do your turn and then pass the tablet to somebody else. You know what I mean? And it's a nice portable board game to bring with you, especially if you're going to a con or something like that and you're just sitting around having beers after the tournament. But until they can do that, because right now I've played 2 games by myself, against the AI, and I had to turn the AI, like you can at least scale the AI like speed. I had to turn it to max speed because I was just getting so bored watching the AI do its thing, and I was just like, oh, this is killing me. So, but overall right now, I think it's a little bit overcosted on Steam. It's around $30. This is definitely one to pick up on a Steam sale if you like Talisman. And again, if you have issues with Talisman, this is Talisman. So it's not going to bring anything new except artwork and some fluff. That's it.
That's really cool to hear because, like you said, the board game version is Relic. So chances of actually getting something, I guess, on the 40k side are probably slim. So this is probably the way to do it there. Without a doubt, man.
What does it mean to be a veteran of the longwar.net? You are the first in the door to all exclusive content, and your clearance will be raised for the earliest access. You can enlist for free. When you're a veteran of the longwar.net, you are the front line to bringing hobby back. Join our Hall of Veterans at thelongwar.net.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. TheLongWar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos,